What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We had a wild day in the market with Enphase popping up over 24%. In this video, we're going to cover some of the best stocks from today, some big earnings with Ford and Teladoc, and just what's going on in the market right now. But before we get started, let us know what stocks you are watching in the comments down below, and we'll probably cover them in tomorrow's video. But all in all, we have a lot of great info today. Make sure you guys stick around to the end, and if you like our content, definitely subscribe because we post brand new videos every single day. But Tom, what is going on with Enphase? We saw some crazy movement today.
Yeah, they actually had a really good earnings report yesterday, and you can see that even after market open today, they kept exploding and they closed up 24%. We can go to this daily chart and see how significant this move was. They had a pretty nice gap up, and they almost retested that all-time high right there. So they had a really explosive move. They beat on earnings pretty well. They had a 0.6 EPS versus a 0.211 estimate. So they beat their EPS by like 200%, which is some pretty amazing numbers. And then we can just see that the momentum really came in here during pre-market and right at market open. Overall, it was an amazing day for Enphase, and their CEO said that demand is booming even as supply chain bottlenecks mean higher prices and longer wait times for consumers. And they're just in a very good sector right now, really popping off. And with these good earnings, it's just showing their amazing growth right here.
Here we go. I really like this stock for the long term. They are a solar company, and I know that they're up pretty big today, which, I bet a lot of people feel like they missed the opportunity there. But all in all, I feel like it'll be a pretty solid play for the long term because I just feel like there's going to be so much growth potential like over the next decade when it comes to solar.
Yeah, I do too. And, lots of other stocks were moving in sympathy with this one today. Other solar stocks like RUN, it did end up green up 3%. We can see that the candle ended up red, but they did have a pretty nice move there right at market open. FSLR had a pretty decent day too. They had a really big run up early on, and they even made new highs for themselves. So it seems like that the solar stocks are doing pretty good. And FSLR actually reports on November 4th. So maybe the solar stocks will get another pop if they have a nice earnings too.
There we go. And then we can't forget about Ford, Tom. I see that they're just popping up in after hours. What's happening with their earnings?
This is actually really good. They had an adjusted EPS of 51 cents per share versus a 27-cent EPS expected. So they almost doubled that. That was amazing there. And their revenue was 33.2 billion versus a 32.5 billion expected. So those numbers are pretty good. They beat there. The main thing that I'm looking at with Ford is going to be their outlook for the longer term. And going ahead and reading through the article, they did say that they increased their annual guidance, even though they lost roughly half of their production in the second quarter due to the global shortage with semiconductor chips. So that's a very interesting thing to hear. It's all on CNBC if you guys want to go check out the article. There's lots of interesting information in there. But in the end, Ford's getting a pretty nice boost to the upside off of this. And they have been pulling back here on the daily chart a little bit after making new highs last week. So hopefully we get a nice pop back up towards those highs.
There we go. So it's awesome to see this type of movement in after hours with Ford. And how's Tesla doing? Because I know that they had like an amazing week and they've been on an incredible uptrend. How are they doing today?
Yeah, they actually had a pretty nice pop up today. Early on, they closed up 1.9%. Definitely not the big day investors were looking for, but it's definitely a lot better than the consolidation that could have happened. If we would have fallen through the $1,000 support, I would have expected a pretty big sell-off. But with the way that we kind of went back up through here in pre-market and held its ground very well, I think Tesla's actually setting up pretty well for tomorrow, especially if we can go back up and kind of break that high of day today up there around 1,070.
There we go. And then we can't forget about Teladoc. So I saw that they were definitely struggling in after hours on their earnings report. I saw a lot of big money flowing into this one to the upside, but it looks like the big money may have been wrong, at least for now.
Yeah, and they actually beat on their EPS. They had a negative 0.53 EPS, actually beating a negative 0.63 estimate. And they reported quarterly sales of 521.66 million, which actually beat the analyst consensus estimate of 516.63 million by 0.97%. So it's not like they killed earnings or anything like that, but the earnings definitely went decent. Now, the bad reason why they're going down is they're probably having some pretty bad guidance for the future, which is probably not good. But either way, I like this stock too for the longer term. And it's just unfortunate that we saw this bad move here with earnings. And it looks like we're down to 131 in after hours. But the good news is that we have a big support there right around 130. So hopefully that ends up holding up.
Yeah, there we go. So like I said, I did see a lot of smart money getting into this one. I know Kathy Wood is a pretty big fan of this one as well, but I'll definitely keep it on my radar for the next couple weeks. And so far today, we covered most of the big stocks. I would say the biggest mover and like the headlines from today were definitely coming from Enphase. They really did have an incredible move. I mean, Tom, a 24% up day just in one day, like that's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. And you can see the big gap it made here on the daily chart. And we got right back up towards those all-time highs. And I'll tell you what, with the way these stocks have been running up lately, like Tesla, Microsoft, bigger name stocks like Apple even, I would not be surprised to see Enphase possibly pop up and hit new highs as well. We've even been seeing bigger chip stocks making new highs, kind of like DDOG and stocks like that. So, I would not be surprised to see these big names like Enphase, RUN, and stocks like that start to get pretty big pops here.
All right, so is there any other major news for today?
There was a little bit of news that came out about these new proposals going through Congress. I know that they're trying to finish Joe Biden's social safety net and climate spending bill, and two of the biggest pro-business groups in the country, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the Business Roundtable, are apparently gearing up to fight new tax proposals in Congress as Democrats work to finish these bills. So that was really interesting to hear today. And then the market also had a pretty big sell-off here at the end of the day with the S&P 500, while the implied volatility even popped up a little bit. So it was really interesting to see this type of news come out and then the market kind of sell off. So I hope that there's not going to be any type of political fighting or just a rough political climate, but definitely something to look at for the next week.
There we go. And then let's get right into today's Discord member of the day, which is Krusty. So he had an amazing day today. He turned like an $8,000 account into an $18,000 account. And he said, just claim this little bit of profit thanks to the Mike and Tom show. So awesome job, Krusty. You absolutely banked with Microsoft. Keep up the great work and just huge congratulations because that's a pretty awesome day.
Yeah, it really is. That was an amazing move there. Nice play on Microsoft. I'm really glad it worked out for you. That was a huge gain. And that's always amazing whenever you get those big gains. But hey, it always feels really good.
You know it. So let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have Square to the downside.
Yep. And with Square, go ahead and make them fall right below $252 even.
All right. And then with the next one, we have Disney also to the downside.
Yeah, unfortunately, Disney's going down here. Make them fall below 169 even. I would say make them fall below 169.25. But if that happens in pre-market, then look at 169.
All right. And then with the last one, we have Beyond Meat to the upside.
Yeah, BYND recovered very well. If they can go up through that $100 resistance, I would really like them for tomorrow.
Sounds good. So we are watching Square and Disney for potential day trades to the downside tomorrow, only if they break below the levels Tom listed. And then we are watching Beyond Meat for a potential day trade to the upside tomorrow, only if it breaks above the level Tom listed. But we definitely have to highlight the bot play from today. The hybrid bot called out an amazing trade with Beyond. It called out the 96 strike calls for BYND at $169 each, and they ran all the way up to $374 each by the end of the day. If you want to trade with this bot, Tom and myself every single day, you can click that first link in the comments and the description down below. You'll save around $40 off your first month, and the bot's been doing pretty well lately. Of course, not every single play wins, but generally speaking, the bot does pretty well. And even if you just want to try it out for 1 month, you can cancel at any time. And now would be the time to try it out because we do have a coupon running, and it is automatically applied to the first link in the description down below and the comments. So definitely check it out. You also get access to daily option swing trades. So good stuff there. And let's get right into the comments from the previous video. We have D asking about Tesla. So I know Tesla has just been doing so well lately, and I feel like now is a really important time to be very careful if you're an options trader, because Tesla's at this point where it has a lot of momentum to the upside. But then again, it literally just went from like $800 up to $1,100 in like a very short time frame. So like you just got to be really careful, and the options are getting a little bit expensive on this one.
Yeah, they're definitely getting expensive. They were already expensive. And now that IV is starting to really fly up as Tesla flew up here. And it's just a really nice run up that they've had, but it could definitely continue. Lots of people are trying to target 1200 at the end of the week and different stuff like that. But just keep in mind, it's probably pretty unrealistic. Be really careful. We just had that big pop up through $1,000. So don't be surprised if it consolidates just for a little bit. But I really hope that that momentum comes back.
Exactly. So I'm looking at the options chain right now, and the options market is only expecting like a 5% chance or so of Tesla closing above $1,200 by this Friday. So it's just something to keep in mind. But all in all, they have a ton of great momentum, and they've been doing extremely well over the past couple weeks. Then we have Kent saying, I keep looking at DraftKings when you guys mention it. Hopefully it will make a move soon. I'm with you. I've been watching this one forever. They had such an amazing uptrend. What was that? You could say like the end of September or so, and then they just kind of really they really just started falling off once that Entain deal came out, and now they're not even doing the Entain deal. So this is one of my favorite stocks for the long term, but they are definitely struggling in the short term, and I just feel like they need something to they need like a new catalyst to get that momentum back.
Yeah, they really do, and they actually just bounced off a pretty good technical here on the daily chart. You can see they hit this long-term blue trend line. They're bouncing back. They just got rid of the Entain deal and they ended up going up off of that news. So hopefully they can start to recover back. I know that, they were moving pretty well before that Entain deal came out. Once that happened, they had a pretty bad drop down, and I really hope that they can get a nice move back. Their earnings are coming up pretty soon, and if those earnings go well, that might be exactly what they need to get that big boost.
There we go. All right, so we have Trey saying, hey guys, love the information you provide. What are your thoughts on PayPal? I really like them at these levels for a monthly swing. So great comment, and let's take a look at it. Tom, what are your thoughts on PayPal?
Yeah, I actually think that right now in the short term, I personally would not touch it. It's unfortunately selling off pretty bad. Once it broke support here right around $250, I just became really bearish on it. I know lots of people were buying it up on the first couple of days on the dip, but I feel like lots of stocks, unfortunately, right now are starting to break supports to the downside. Some of them are running up like AMD and Nvidia, and then on the flip side, we have ones like PayPal, unfortunately falling down. So, and ones like Facebook, Snapchat, different stocks like that. And it's just a really rough thing to see right now. And I know that the Pinterest deal is probably playing a bit of a role into this. I was hoping that once they scrapped that deal, PayPal would start to fly up a little bit more than they ended up doing. And, this scares me because I hope that DraftKings doesn't do the same thing. But looking at it going forward, I think that PayPal will be good for the long term. For the short term, I think it'll be a good opportunity to start to sell some puts or start to average it into shares. But I don't think I'd be picking up leaps or any call options right now for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you for sure. I feel like it'll be fine for the long term, but for the short term, I'm just not a huge fan of it. I also think it would not be a good idea to buy calls. I think your best bet is to, just wait on it, see if it falls a little bit more. I know they have earnings coming up relatively soon, and, hopefully if they retest like 200 or so, that should be like a good, buying opportunity for a starter position, but I just feel like there will be a better opportunity to enter this one at a lower price.
Yeah, and there's a pretty big support here on the daily chart down here, like right around $210. And then there's also one down here around 225. So I feel like that maybe one of those levels might be pretty good.
Here we go. So Tom, do you have any last minute stocks, options, or anything you are watching for tomorrow?
I'm going to talk about one stock that's pretty popular right now, and it's actually going to be Boeing. Unfortunately, Boeing's been having a pretty rough go of it the past few weeks. They just had these rough earnings, and I know that they talked about some of those problems they had with their Dreamliner aircraft a while ago, and that actually hurt them a little bit on these earnings. And, lots of people are looking to buy Boeing right now for the longer term, and I think if you're grabbing shares or possibly leaps with enough time on them, I think it could be a pretty good way to go right now. But I will say though, be pretty careful. You know, they're sitting here, right around support. If they end up breaking down below support pretty significantly with all the problems going on, I would not be surprised to see Boeing continue to go down here. Now, I really like them for the long term, and I think it's making some awesome opportunities to grab some shares. But for the short term, I'd be really careful grabbing calls and stuff right here. I think it's pretty risky. And there's also some other pretty good setups out there, especially like AMD, which is running, where we have lots of other stocks popping off like Enphase, RUN, stocks like that. And then I also wanted to bring up a stock, PLUG. They are right on resistance. I feel like if we get a big pop up here above 35.50, PLUG might get a pretty big run to the upside, but if we bounce off resistance, it might be a pretty good play to the downside. So definitely have your eyes on it. And I feel like with lots of stocks popping off lately, there might be a pretty big chance of it going up.
There we go. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you are an options trader, definitely check out the first link in the comments and the description down below. You'll save around $40 off your first month. You'll be able to trade with Tom, myself, and all of our bots. And the bots have been doing pretty well lately, so it's definitely worth checking out, even if it's only for 1 month. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day, and come join Tom and myself live at Market Open every single day on the Stocked Up Live YouTube channel. The link for that will be in the description down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.